There's a new Booktube drama, and you know I'm gonna comment on it. Actually, I have to correct myself already. This one isn't new. It's kinda old, actually. Let's start with this. Haley Pham is, or Pham, I don't know. I'm really bad with names. Is a really big YouTuber. She has like 3.9 million followers, which is a number I can only ever dream of. And last year, she announced her new book called Just Friends. It was actually her debut. I think in a recent vlog, she revealed that she's been working on this for 4 years. And she immediately got a publishing deal with a big company called Atria, which I think in the romance space is kind of a like big time publisher. Well, about half a year ago, when the first ARC reviews were coming in, there was some controversy that some of the reviews seemed to be incredibly negative and mean. And if you've seen a few of my other videos, you know that I have a problem with people going for mean book reviews. So, in this video, I'm going to explore the basics of the controversy, my thoughts on if the book reviews for Haley Pham's book are too mean, if book reviews in general can be too mean, and my thoughts on the content creator to creator of the things that the content creator is critiquing thing, because I think that's really interesting, but also can lead to huge problems. Disclaimer, I don't know Haley Pham, obviously, not in person and also not her online persona. I saw a few of her videos, but I never was like a big fan of hers, and that's not because of her content. Her content is just not something that like does totally appeal to me. And obviously, her videos showed up sometimes in my feed, but we don't have aligning book tastes or anything. So I'm just not like a stan of hers or like a huge critic. I don't know that much. So if I don't have all the information in this video, if you saw my Wuthering Heights video, you know that it's only based on my own thoughts. So you shouldn't expect like a scientific analysis here, but I also really am not trying to make like a hit piece on Haley Pham. Anyway, so with the controversy. So about half a year ago when the first ARC reviews were coming out, I think there were reviews on either TikTok or Goodreads or both, where a few like other creators thought that they were incredibly mean towards Haley Pham. And that whole thing like kind of went over very quickly, at least in my space. I only saw like a few things on it. But so recently, her book actually came out, and I saw a few other videos that were like critiquing the book itself. And like the book itself, like Just Friends, is not something that would like usually like actually like interest me. And I also haven't read it, just for clarity's sake. I won't critique the book myself. But if a book gets attention, especially negative attention, it will show up on my feed, like naturally, because that's just the way things are. The attention economy, it seems to favor negativity. And so I've seen a lot of book reviews pop up for her book. And at least in my case, what I saw, they mostly seem to be negative. But looking on Goodreads, the book actually sits on a 3.63 average rating, which isn't that bad. Like the Goodreads average, usually for any normal book, is around a 3.7. And so this book being below that isn't like a bad sign at all. But I think if you think that's a bad score, it would probably because the huge like releases, especially within like the fandoms that probably would be adjacent to Haley Pham, like the romance fandom, the romantasy fandom. Usually the hyped releases there that have a lot of backing through like influencers and the publisher do like get like 4.5, 4.2 out of the gate or something. And there is obviously also like a lot of negativity surrounding those because it's just popular to hate on things, and there's obviously like concerns about the quality of anything. You can like critique stuff, but I think the positive voices are always drowning those out. So I think it can be jarring to see like a release from such a well-known figure in the book space with such a huge following only having a 3.6 debut. But the thing is, are the reviews of this book actually too mean to her? So in my opinion, no. We can get into the things that I would think that books can be too mean in general later, but I will only like talk about like the book itself first. So if you go on the Goodreads page, and like Goodreads is not a monolith, but it's just what I use for my reviews. So obviously I went to research it here. From the about 8,000 ratings it has, I looked at the first like page that like the most popular ones that popped up, and the first one is actually a 1-star review. But I think that person did a well enough job at explaining what she didn't like about the book. And if you look at the other reviews, there are positive ones in there. There are a few like more disappointed ones, but they are like some of the disappointed ones I saw also like stated that they were a fan of Haley's and that they specifically like didn't want to be really like defaming of her, and just they were excited and the book just wasn't up to the standard that they expected. So then I specifically started to go through the 1-star reviews, and there I found that also either the reviews kind of were like the first one, were like really like explaining the criticisms, or they said I just didn't enjoy this. But some also like I found one that stated like I didn't enjoy this, but I also really don't want to be mean to the person. So I think they probably heard about the controversy. But yeah, and obviously there were a few ones that are like, oh my god, she's getting a publishing deal. Obviously all the parasocial girlies are gonna buy it, and like it's not actually good. And I think that's obviously like more in like the ecosphere, in like the system that people would expect for like a mean review. But it's not like, oh my god, this is terrible, this is trash because of Haley, I hate her. Like it's still not like out of the ordinary. And I think like literally every book gets those because every author is disliked by somebody. That brings me to my case if a book review, in my opinion, can actually like in general be too mean. And yes, I do think so, but not for the reasons that people usually give. I have explained my grievances before, where people that are like, oh, I don't want to give out 1-star reviews because I don't want to be mean to the author. I really, really hate that kind of rhetoric. It's a rating scale. Do the entire rating scale, please. It's that just infuriates me that like you don't owe this author anything. You probably paid for the book with your own money, so like give it a fair review. Like a 1-star being not fair is such a foreign concept to me that I will never understand. But I think, in fact, that book reviews can be too mean, and that is when they go after the author and not the book itself. I explained before that there were some reviews saying that, oh my god, imagine she's getting a book deal, but the book is not actually good. The one I saw actually probably sounded like that they hadn't read the book. So, just giving the book a negative rating and going after the author just because you maybe disagree with them, I think that's not fair. Cut, I don't actually know where I was. I just had to do something and I'm kind of sick, so sorry if my like voice or something breaks up and like I have to pause again. Basically, if you go after the author first and not the book, then I think it can veer into like more like meanness in the book review. That to say, you can still hate the author and read the book and dislike the book for valid reasons, and then write a review that mentions both of those things, and I would think that the review is still good. But like only going after the author, that just seems a little bit unfair to me. But also, just bringing it back to just friends, I kinda didn't see this here. It could be, and like I haven't watched the videos on the controversy since they came out, especially in preparation to this, because I don't want to taint my own opinion by watching someone else's opinion on it. But it could be that the original reviews that those videos were talking about could have been deleted. It also could have been that they are literally just on TikTok. And I am not on TikTok. I don't want to do that to myself. So I wouldn't know that either. But basically from what I saw, and again, I also didn't check all of the 448 1-star reviews because I'm not a researcher. I'm just trying to do a video. But yeah, in this case, I just didn't think that's true. And like the outrage, I don't know if it came from her fans necessarily. And I get that you want to defend something, but I think it was really overblown. And I just don't think that people were actually that mean in their criticisms of this book. That said, even in the cases of the people that are saying, oh, she's got a publishing deal, why? I can kind of understand it. And that's where we get into the portion of the video where I get into like the strange things surrounding this content creator to author or just artist pipeline that I saw a few times, and the weird things I noticed about it, and why I think it could be done well, but it could also lead to huge problems. Obviously, like a lot of book reviewers and also like reviewers of other kinds of content are fans of the media they are reviewing. Like, why else would we consume them if we didn't like them? And so obviously, it's probably reasonable that a lot of people someday want to create in this medium themselves. I get that. I want to publish a book one day too. At the moment, I just don't think my writing is sufficient enough to publish it. But if I ever think that it's the case, then I will certainly do it. But no matter in what medium that is, it can be book, film, video games, anything, it, in my opinion, can lead to a few problems, especially in the case of Haley Pham's version, where they immediately got a book deal with a huge publisher. In Haley Pham's case, she says herself in like a recent vlog, and like again, I'm not like expert on her channel. I just saw this when I glanced at it. She did say that she wrote it for 4 years, which does seem like she put a lot of work into it. But if you have read anything about the Milo Winter controversy, a lot of work doesn't necessarily equate to good work. And the thing is that she got a publishing contract with like Atria immediately. I get why that can rub a few people the wrong way. Especially since the negative reviews that do outline their points, and even some of the like more mediocre reviews seem to mention that the most points where they thought like criticism of the book were in the writing and the editing, which is like a certain phenomenon in the publishing industry right now, where just the publishers just cut a lot down on editing and focus more on like pretty additions and things. And also we see that a lot of like influencers and just authors with huge followings get more attention from the publishers because they have this built-in audience. They don't have to market the book as much as they would with like another author, and that's why they get the deal like immediately. And I'm sorry that I to say that, but I think this just was the case with Haley Pham as well. I mean, she has 3.9 million followers just on her, based on her YouTube audience. It's huge. So I get why the people are criticizing her for like getting the publishing contract immediately. And with that publishing contract, there is another problem that I see with a lot of reviewers turned creators that I just can't oversee, and that is becoming an artist can devalue your original like reviewer content, in that you just probably have like a certain bias. I'm not saying that is with everybody, and I'm especially not saying it about Haley Pham because I don't know her, but just saying that was a huge conversation when, this is a whole nother thing, but last year, Chris Stuckman, who is a well-known movie reviewer on the platform, released his debut movie called Shelby Oaks. And the thing is, while he produced it mostly himself, he like also I think released it through like a traditional like company, and like even got Mike Flanagan on as like an executive producer. And in conjunction with that, he also stopped giving negative reviews on his page, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially since he said that his reasoning was, since he had made a lot of connections in the movie industry through making his movie, he felt like he didn't want to criticize any artist's other work. And while that might seem kind of reasonable, that it also carries the undertone of, oh, I have made a lot of connections, I don't want to burn those bridges by talking badly about the movie. Which, I mean, that is your job. And I think it's cool that you care about your art, but if that impacts your honesty on the thing you're actually like famous for, then I think that's kind of like bad. Again, I'm also not like hugely versed in that controversy. I only like touched it like mildly. And I listened to this one podcast, I'm gonna put it here, where they like went like really deep into it. I think that definitely going into it, they definitely don't like Chris Stuckman. Like they really don't like him. So don't expect like anything like kind of like nice. But I think they did like a very good job explaining why his attitudes towards reviewing movies have changed. Is like pretty stupid and probably influenced by him just not wanting to lose connections in the industry. And just bringing it back to the book stuff, if you got a publishing contract with a traditionally publishing company and you are a book reviewer that just published a book with that, you can probably have a bias. Because if you are gonna go on to like be a book reviewer again, you might not wanna like talk negatively about the books of that publisher because you yourself are in business with them. Maybe you want to write more books, you want to publish more under that, and that's, I think, just a very very difficult to navigate. Obviously you could say, oh, I'm not reviewing books from the publisher anymore, just because there could be a bias there. You could just say, oh, I'm still myself, I'm honest, I'm gonna review that, and you have it coming from me that I will be 100% honest. I personally would probably distrust that, but it's just it's at least like good to say. And like again, in the case of Haley Pham, I have no idea. It could just be that like maybe if you were like used your platform to leverage it to like write a book, you might not even want to go back to like the reviewer space, and you might just move on and be like a artist from now on, making videos about your writing, which in Haley Pham's case, I think she did that like a lot in like the last few months of her channel. So that could be the path forward. I don't know, but I just think it creates kind of a moral conundrum in the case of reviewing books. So yeah, that's a thing. And again, that also is because of the contract with the traditional publisher. Like I've seen a lot of reviewers turned authors themselves. But if you like publish it through like self-publishing, a lot of people do that. And there's immediately like less bias towards that because you self-publish it, you put your own money behind it, and you don't have a bias towards the publisher. So I think that's like way not as bad. And again, I think when people are mad that just because you have a large audience, you got a publishing deal, I can really kind of get that. Anyway, I said that this video was more focused than my Wuthering Heights video, but it probably wasn't. I probably forgot a lot of my points, but if you are a regular viewer, you probably know that that's like just part of the course from my video. Again, I didn't want to be defamatory, I didn't want to be inflammatory, and I didn't want to be like evil. But if you thought I was, then please let me know in the comments. If you think my way, then please also let me know in the comments. Anyway, I always like love to hear from you. Like literally anything you have to say. I mean, tell me, what books do you read? Have you read Just Friends? Did you enjoy it? Are you a fan of Haley Pham's? I'd always love to hear it. What did you think of my outfit? And I know that I only have minimal makeup on. Also, my filming setup changed. Maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't. But yeah, I had to buy a new phone because my old one had spots on the like selfie camera, and the battery had like an issue. So now I basically paid more money for a worse phone, which I don't know if that will affect the quality of my videos. I mean, you are probably the best person to tell me, so please do. But yeah, I mean, I also don't know if I can change it because I'm stuck with this phone like for a bit now because it was a huge chunk of money, but that's just what you can expect from Apple nowadays. You capitalism, I guess. But yeah, that was an unnecessarily long outro, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!